Well.
Oh.
So, although I'm gonna looking at this last minute of this Aaliyah movie, and I guess I'm gonna tell you what I think about it and what they could have did, what they should have did, and all this other stuff. Truth of the matter is, Wendy Williams never produced anything again. I can see why everybody's saying it was so bad, because I didn't get to watch it until, well, it will be right now. That was just so bad. You got trying to have people portray the actors supposed to look like the people, and they don't. And plus, it's just like what Hazel had pointed out to me, that it was nothing but with a journalism point of view, not by talking to any of the people that was involved in her life or anything like that. It seems like they ain't talked to none of them. They just went through what journalism will go through. And I can see why Timbaland said, like, this is bullshit, and Lifetime making a mockery out of Aaliyah.
I just tweeted to Wendy Williams, to executive producer Wendy Williams, well done on making a movie based on a Wikipedia page. What a crap job at a movie.
And some people is like, hey, y'all shouldn't have watched the shows. They're getting the ratings anyway. Nobody didn't expect for it to be this bad.
No.
So you can't just expect for people to oh, let's see, hopefully they did something good with it, and the results, they didn't. So just like whatever with that dumb crap, it was stupid, and I think it's one of the things we probably ain't gonna watch again.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Because there was so much to her story that wasn't told.
Exactly.
They didn't tell about how many doors she opened for other young black females to get into the business and be taken seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Not just as, it's going to sound crude, not just as a pussy pot, so to speak.
Right.
She was one of the ones, if you know your music history, who pushed and pushed and pushed for Destiny's Child to be picked up.
Right.
Without her, again, seriously? Could you pass me the remote?
Sure, I'll pass you the remote.
You know, without Aaliyah, you don't have Destiny's Child and Beyonce. Or you might have, but nowhere near where they are now.
Right, exactly.
You know, and people have got to, you know, get that through their heads. There was more to her. You know, you focus on the whole R. Kelly thing, and you focus on a couple of other things. Well, how about focusing on her music talent and the stuff that she did with Missy Elliott and Timbaland, the movies that she made, the contributions she made outside of that to other things that were going on.
Right, because it seems like they did not touch enough of it.
It, to me,
like they should.
We were watching this movie where so much was cut out. There was like big chunks of her life just gone. And as I said, it sounded like she, seriously, that it was done from the Wikipedia. When you go through Wikipedia, I'm reading it, and then it's like, well, there's the movie right there.
Right.
You know, there was no... I understand, like, when you watch the Selena movie, I understand that they're going to jump from place to place because they're saying, okay, this is where, you know, like they showed with her with her family roots and everything. You've got to do that to understand certain things. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
But you then go on to how she started and where she started and everything. And the reason I think a lot of people are detesting this Aaliyah movie so much is that unlike the Selena story, the MC Hammer story, the Whitney Houston story, the TLC
which they
story.
are doing a remake of the Whitney Houston movie in January.
Right, but when you go through all of those, the ones that actually worked and were good, there's something fundamental that all of those had, and that was that they had the people who were the closest to them involved in it. Selena's father, who, any of you know the story about Selena, was the main person behind Selena and her success. And he was the one behind making that movie because he wanted it to be the actual portrayal. Now, even though Jennifer Lopez played her, Jennifer Lopez didn't sing any of the songs on there. She lip-synced because that was one of the conditions that the family had, that Selena's music stayed as her singing. The same with Whitney Houston's one. Whitney Houston's voice was the singing on that movie. And there's so many others that are the same, but when you break it all down, like we were saying about the TLC one, TLC were behind it. They said, okay, if you're going to do this, do it right. Let us be involved. We were there. You're not going to make up your own shit. And that's basically, to me, what this one has done. It looks like somebody went through all of, like, the tabloid reports and Wikipedia and was like, oh, we'll do that, we'll do that, we'll do this, we'll do that.
Right, and it was just,
because
oh my God.
Nobody really knows what happened between her and R. Kelly. The only people who know what happened between them were them. And one of those people is dead, and the other one has never come out and said what actually happened. And kudos to him for keeping his mouth shut all those years, when I'm sure he's been probed by, you know,
a lot of people to say something about it, yeah.
The whole point is that it took away from who she was by focusing on that. Focus on the album that she did with R. Kelly. Focus on the albums that she did with Timbaland and Missy Elliott. Focus on her movie career and everything that was getting taken off the ground in that lot.
Also, didn't her and Genuine have a relationship?
Briefly, from what I understood, yeah, and that wasn't
even mentioned.
Right. And because it wasn't mentioned on Wikipedia.
So that had to be.
So they're following, doing things like that, and, you know, coming up with nothing. And it's a shame because her story is one that a lot of girls and women are inspired by, because she was one of those artists who came out and said, okay, you don't have to have your tits and your ass popping out. You can get up and be sexy as hell in a pair of sweats, a pair of Nikes, and a beater. And she maintained that. Yeah, there were some outfits she wore that she pulled off that were sexy as hell. But when you look at them and you think about it compared to what we see today with, you know, certain other artists, shall we say, she's more covered up. But she pulled it off because she knew how to, she had the right people in her life to make her look that way. And that's what needed to have been, you know, more shown, because I know from interviews that they have with her where they said, you know, how come you don't do your, you know, some of your music and your concerts wearing like little dresses and stuff like this artist and that artist? And she came out and said, because I don't need to dress like that to perform. They're here to hear my voice, not see what I look like. Those sort of things is what should have been in the movie, and that just tells you that there was no one out of her, what you call her entourage, who was interested in, you know what I mean, being a part of it.
Right, exactly. And it just plain horrible. It's just like Wendy Williams. Like, what the hell were you thinking? Like, really?
Yeah.
God, just like remind me not to watch anything that she produced. Certain TV shows, yeah, she did great, but when it comes to something like this,
You know, I've already had an issue with Wendy Williams. You know that because all of her TV show is based on gossip. And so as soon as that name pops up, oh, Wendy Williams is executive producer of this, this, or this.
Like I said, I didn't even know until like the ending when we only just tuned in to like the closing moments of the movie.
Well, I kind of thought it was because somebody had said something about like Wendy Williams taking another good story and screwing it up, and then I heard all the things about the Aaliyah Movie, and I thought to myself, well, maybe that's one of the same who they're talking about, you know?
Right. Just overall, what was she thinking?
She wasn't. Well, she was thinking of the money. She wasn't thinking about the story. And that's where the problem lies.
Yeah, so overall, Wendy Williams, don't do any more of these movies that you think you can come through gossip and stuff.
If I was
No.
the family of Aaliyah, I would be very, very upset with that movie.
You already know that some people like Timberland was pissed.
Timberland was, and see, he's one of the ones, and as I said, I don't particularly like Missy Elliott because of a couple of comments she made about, once she lost her weight, making comments about plus-size women and everything. It's like, honey, you were there, so shut up.
I thought she apologized
Eventually, but it's still like, still breaks on my nerves. But the likes of her and Timberland have every right to be angry at how that movie portrayed. One, to me, it trivialized their musical relationship. And as you know, I mean, you know music. And as you know...
You even met the woman before.
Yeah. And as you know, Timberland and Missy Elliott had a huge, huge impact on... They all had an impact on each other's careers. Because Timberland and Missy Elliott were only just getting started when Aaliyah came to us. And as a team, they became big. You know, it was... And that side of things were never shown. They didn't show the relationship with DMX. And I'm saying relationship as in working relationship and stuff.
Yeah.
We'll let the rumors fly on that one, as they have done. But the only way I can describe it is go to that I Miss You video that they shot after she died. And all the people who were in there. Okay, all of the people who were in there. Every single person in there had worked with her, knew her in some form or way. And I bet you money for money not one of those people were approached to have anything to do with it.
Probably not. So we're just going to close it out as this. The movie was bullshit, and Wendy Williams, don't ever do another one like this again, or you're going to have a lot of people coming at you.
It would not surprise me if there is some words, legal words.
Right, in Lifetime, you should be ashamed of yourself too.
Well, see, and that goes to the whole thing of Lifetime actually not being really in touch with certain things that are going on, shall we say. You need people who have lived the past few years to actually be seen to sit down and say, okay, no, this isn't going to work.
Right, so we're just going to end like this. Don't do no more of these productions and stuff. Just stay you.